I have TriDot coach Tony Washington on the show, and we are talking about flying with your bike. But Tony, I chose you for a very specific reason. Not only do you fly with your bike very often, but you are actually a full-time pilot. There's a lot of times that we're on our TT bikes, and you're down an aero, you get your aero helmet on, you get your aero sunglasses on, and it can kind of make us feel really cool, like a little fighter pilot in our aero positions. Are there any similarities to being a pilot and riding your time trial bike?
Kind of, there definitely is. It's happening a little faster up there. It's like 600 miles an hour instead of 20. But you're definitely, you're managing all of the aid stations, and you're definitely landing in places, and you're dealing with crosswinds just like you're doing on the bike and in the airplane. You're planning on how you're fueling both in the airplane and fueling for races and workouts. You're also looking at your equipment and making sure everything's running still well when you're out there riding.
Let's get into our topic here for the day, and that is traveling with our bike, how to pack it, how to fly with it, kind of some best practices. And I want to start, Tony, by talking about some of the different luggage options that are available to triathletes. There's the hard side cases where you have to really pack down your bike. But it's more protected. There's the soft side cases where you do less tearing down your bike, but it's not quite as protective. And there's a number of options you have in between. What is available to the athletes out there that are looking to fly with their bike? What's on the market today that we can look at and purchase to pack our bikes in?
It starts even before that. I went to a bike shop and got a bike box and completely dismantled my bike once and put it in there and squashed it in there and mailed it on with FedEx to a race. That was good, but you had to completely take the thing apart, and it was not very convenient. A soft-sided case is very good. I have one that looks like a garment bag. Has a couple of padded sections to kind of separate the wheels and the frame and that kind of thing. But you can definitely feel the bike under there. And if anything is on top of it or it gets thrown around, it's not very well protected. I actually use that in the airplane sometimes and throw it in the back of the airplane. I have two hard-sided cases, one of which I bought on Marketplace for $50. It was local.
Oh,
it was
nice.
great. It was used once.
Good for you.
Yeah, exactly. It worked really good. I've used it for every race until this last race. Julie got a Bike Box Allen for Christmas, so I borrowed it on its maiden voyage. It was very nice. But my previous case was called a Trico iron case. There's some great videos online of those guys trying to destroy a bicycle with it. It is very, very durable, very thick foam in between. But you have to, for my bike, it's a pretty big bike. I have to completely take the handlebars apart and kind of layer some stuff so that you have to take the seat post out, have to take the rear derailleur off to all squash it in there. But it is very durable. And it works really well. One of the advantages of the Bike Box Allen is you don't have to do that unless you have a giant bicycle like mine. And you still have to take off the seat, and then you have to, for mine, I just had to rotate the handlebars down a tiny little bit to make it squeeze in there. But that was it. The assembly and disassembly took all of 5 minutes. Take the pedals off, take the wheels off, rotate the handlebars down, just strap it in there, and there's a couple of Velcro tabs that kind of keep everything in place, a couple layers of foam, and you're good to go.
Let's kind of move on into just when it comes to packing these things, because if you have one like mine, like I said, you don't have to do as much to the bike to pack it. If you have the Bike Box Allen, that Julie and your partner Julie, she is a flight attendant. So let's give her a shout out. She's also well versed in traveling with her bike. So her Bike Box Allen, that is a hard case. Takes a little bit more tearing down, but it's a little bit more protective. What have you found in your travels, Tony, are kind of your best practices for packing the bike for travel?
Couple different things. I use some blankets and towels and pillowcases to kind of organize everything. I've used bubble wrap. I've used saran wrap. I've used everything. When the bike was brand new, I was very, very particular about everything, but now it's 9 years old. It has some scratches and dings, and it has almost 30,000 miles on it. So it's the aesthetics aren't super awesome. But it definitely needs some layers. And both Bike Box Allen and the Trico iron case have layers of foam to kind of protect between the wheels and the frame, and that keeps everything from moving around and getting things scratched.
I've shown up at the races and seen triathletes using all sorts of different things to just add some extra padding. And you referenced there being some foam. You referenced using blankets and saran wrap. I've seen people saran wrap the carbon parts. I've seen people wrap blankets, T-shirts, jerseys, clothes around their bike parts. I've seen people use towels. I've seen people show up at the races and they literally just have it just packed with pool noodles, like pool noodles that you would buy at Walmart.
Yep.
To splish splash in the summer at the pool. Cut them in half, wrap them around the carbon parts of your bike. So the cases themselves go a long way and do a lot of great things, but you can take some extra measures just to make sure that carbon is reinforced a little bit, wrapped a little bit. The parts inside aren't going to do as much. One more tip, Tony, that I want to throw out there. I'm curious to see if you're doing this yet or not. I know a lot of pros are starting to use Apple AirTags to put an Apple AirTag in their suitcase to track where your bike goes. So you always know where your bike is. You know that it made the plane. You know that it got off the plane. A friend of mine that works for Precision Fuel and Hydration had an Apple AirTag in his Bike Box Allen. And he had a connecting flight from Kona to DFW to London, and his bike got stuck in DFW. And he was able to text me a picture of his Apple AirTag location saying, hey, this is where my bike is at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. Is there anything you can do? Now, I live just north of the airport, so I drove down to the airport.
Right.
I within 10 minutes, was able to find his Bike Box Allen, tell the flight attendants, hey, I'm on the phone with the guy who owns this. Can we get this on a plane to London for him? And we got the problem resolved. So all of that, all of the above, I cannot recommend enough. Pay the $50, whatever it costs for an Apple AirTag, put it in your bike bag, and just always have that peace of mind of knowing that you're going to be able to find your bike no matter where it ends up on the back end. So let me ask you about this when it comes to packing. Do you pack anything else in your bike box besides your bike, like any other tri gear, or do you just leave it your bike equipment?
I used to, back when it was, at one point it was 60 pounds before it added additional costs. So I would put my helmet in there, put all my nutrition, all the stuff in a pack anyways. And I would put all that shoes, that kind of stuff, so it weighs and takes a lot of space. I did that to go to Challenge Roth years ago, a race that you need to do.
You're right.
It was,
I agree.
It's a great race. But now that's gone down to 50 pounds, depending on which bike, but Bike Box Allen is a little heavier than my other bike box. So sometimes I actually take my seat off and put that in my checked luggage also to make sure that the bike case is under 50 pounds, because at American Airlines, when I fly most of the time, if it's under 50 pounds, it's free. It counts as one of my checked bags.
Yeah.
And so free is good. Stuff like TriDot Transport has gotten so expensive that a bike box is going to pay for itself in two trips, which, do 4 or 5 races a year. It pays itself in just a couple of months. So it's one of the things I do.
Now, when we're going through the airport, it is a process to check in a bike and then, get the bike to the right people. Once you get off the plane, you have to find usually the oversized luggage area to collect your bike. So it's a little bit more of it's not hard, but it's a little bit more of a process to fly with your bike than just checking in a normal bag and going about your business. What do we need to know about that process, kind of going through the airport with our checked bike?
So show up early. That's going to take a little bit of time. One of the big things I learned was you can actually, for most places, TSA will inspect your bike in your presence. You just have to ask for it. So that process might take a little bit of time. I will do that next time for sure. But two agents I had talked to about it said, oh yeah, we do it all the time, because our bikes are really expensive, but compared to like $1 million violin or some priceless medical equipment that they see on a daily basis, they're used to it. Our bikes are obviously precious to us, and if we're going to a race, we don't want them damaged to ruin our race weekend. I will not have an opportunity to borrow a bike, most likely, because I'm not a very common size. But that was the big thing that I learned from them, is to go and have them inspect your bike in your presence so that you can show them that, hey, make sure that strap is put over here so the wheels don't bother, and they'll be able to repack it in your presence. So when it leaves their possession, it gets to the airplane, it should be in the same condition you left it in.